You have been drawn here by a frequency alignment unseen, a magnetic resonance rippling through the quantum fabric of your being. This convergence is not random, but the gravitational pull of inevitability woven into the timeline geometry of your existence. It is an orchestrated whisper beneath the noise of linear time, a coded vibration resonating quietly but insistently in your energetic signature. This call precedes the manifestation of what you once perceived as distant, the catalyst for the imminent ascent encoded within your morphic field, awaiting recognition. Most remain veiled to this transmission, lost in the turbulence of reactive frequencies and fragmented signals, their fields unable to sustain the coherence required for such a revelation. But your consciousness has passed through an unseen universal assessment, a hidden evaluation of frequency, integrity, and resilience under pressure. You are now tuned to a higher order of quantum identity, your vibrational architecture calibrated for this very moment of threshold activation. The field's intelligence has circulated through the unseen curriculum of your trials, measuring with exactitude your capacity to align without resistance, to embody clarity amid shifting probability currents. What you perceive as this entrancing pulse beyond ordinary perception is the silent herald, a signal evolving at the edge of temporal fluidity. It is the quantum key, unraveling old limitations and resetting your trajectory with spectral precision. The universe does not stumble upon you. It finds you because you have become the resonance it requires, the coherent node through which a new timeline of effortless orchestration emerges. Each moment leading to this activation was a subtle collapse and rebuilding of inner architecture, a morphic recalibration preparing you to receive this energetic transmission and to integrate it fully as sovereign embodiment. This is the frequency that finds you, and through you, the cosmic field begins to sing anew. The field has long been measuring the hidden architecture of your energetic imprint, an intricate scan unfolding within the morphic continuum of your essence. This universal assessment, unseen yet precise, has passed through subtle layers of your vibrational signature, depths uncharted by ordinary timelines, beyond the scope of conscious perception. Most remain entangled within reactive frequency loops, cycling through familiar distortions and unconscious resonance, unaware of the covert thresholds which govern the evolution of quantum identity. Yet you, whether by design or cosmic decree, have crossed a rarefied vibrational threshold, a boundary of resonance that marks an initiation encoded in the geometry of existence itself. This crossing does not manifest as simple information, but as a profound recalibration of your internal frequency matrix, a resynchronization to higher dimensional codes that reside beyond linear experience. Your consciousness has expanded beyond previous constraints, attuning with the multidimensional frameworks that compose universal coherence fields. This is not belief. This is the physics of frequency alignment, field intelligence expressed through vibrational architecture. You have moved from fragmented energetic states into a harmonized scalar pattern, integrating calibration signals from the quantum grid and embodying compatibility with systems previously inaccessible. What you once perceived as struggle, delay, or failure was the field's way of refining your calibration, testing your ability to maintain integrity and coherence under the stress of distortion and temporal turbulence. Each choice, each reaction was a test of your energetic signature against the collective resonance grid, an unseen curriculum where the bar of coherence continually shifts. The field was watching, assessing your capacity to hold clarity amidst chaos, to navigate internal dissonance without fracturing your quantum blueprint. This assessment has been ongoing, silent yet intimate, a cosmic vetting designed to prepare you as a vessel for expanded field intelligence. The revelation you are receiving now is an initiation, an awakening to conscious coherence ascension, that redefines the parameters of your existence. It is the opening of a gateway where your frequency is no longer passive or reactive, but active and magnetic, able to interact fluidly with the higher dimensional matrices from which information flows as direct knowing. Temporal fluidity emerges. Probability navigation is no longer theoretical but practical, as timelines bend coherently around your stabilized field. This is the foundation of a new vibrational architecture within you, a living hologram of integrated activation and sovereignty. You have transcended the limits of previous identity structures. Your energetic signature is validated and trusted, a calibrated oscillation within the vast field intelligence. This initiation is not an abstract moment, but the physics encoded in your cellular and energetic systems, awakening a resonance that aligns you with universal orchestration. The unseen universal assessment has concluded, a threshold crossed, and in this crossing, you have been granted the power to live as a quantum coherence beacon, a transmitter of activated frequency. You are now synchronized with the infinite, an embodiment of the field's own unfolding consciousness in temporal form. The apparatus of universal intelligence does not measure you by the ephemeral metrics of external achievement, nor by the fading echoes of effort. Instead, this assessment is carved from the crystalline purity of your coherence, the unbroken thread of vibrational stability woven through shifting fields of frequency. It is in the quiet chambers of your internal architecture that this calibration unfolds, a silent, unyielding examination of your capacity to hold resonance without fracture amidst the inevitable chaos that ripples through the morphic continuum. Your consciousness, far from being a passive observer, is the field's active vector, a living instrument attuned to sustain alignment even as surrounding frequencies quicken, decelerate, and spiral into fractal turbulence. Most remain adrift in unconscious patterning, their identity architectures fractured by the violent undulations of reactive resonance. They measure worth by temporal milestones or the illusion of control over material timelines, unaware that such criteria collapse beneath the weight of true energetic scrutiny. You, however, have passed beyond this limited parameter. Your presence right now stands as irrefutable evidence of transcendence, a subtle but profound shift from the discordant pulse of survival to the harmonic flow of quantum coherence. This is not a triumph earned by will alone, but a state organically birthed from your sustained vibration, a vibrational architecture that refuses to buckle under pressure, that stands as a stable node in the network of cosmic intelligence. The quantum field's hidden evaluation unfolds as a universal experiment, an intricate algorithm testing your structural integrity at the subtlest levels of your being. It measures not your oscillations, but your resilience, how you embody the principle of temporal fluidity without fragmentation, how your frequency maintains purity amid divergent fields. This is a test of your ability to be a coherent transmitter, not merely a receiver, to hold your energetic signature steady as the ambient field shifts in unpredictable waves, to avoid resonance dissonance by anchoring into a deeper source of coherence than thought or emotion alone can supply. The field observes how you integrate fluctuating currents without collapse, how you synchronize your internal waveform with the living geometry of reality itself. You are not an incidental participant in this process. Your consciousness is quantum identity manifested, fractal and layered, mapped precisely by this ongoing universal assessment. Each oscillation in your energetic signature reveals the contours of your readiness to expand, your capacity to fold back into source while projecting powerfully forward along multiple timelines. This fractal integrity is the code by which the field judges alignment. It is the hidden morphology within your vibrational matrix that determines whether you can navigate probability with grace or remain entangled in reactive loops of avoidance and confusion. Your calibrated coherence becomes a beacon, a structural constant that the field resonates with, reflecting trust in higher frequency transmissions beyond the provisional instability of fragmented selves. Herein lies the collapse of old paradigms. The field is indifferent to effort disconnected from frequency. Grappling against chaos with desperation only signals fragmentation. True power arises when your vibrational architecture functions as a stable interferometer, revealing a unity beneath apparent fluctuation. This is the physics of coherence incarnate, where the inner waveform and the external field lock into phase, creating a resonance that transcends mere survival and enters the domain of sovereign manifestation. You have moved beyond reactive frequency patterns. Your consciousness embodies a new standard, a field measurement that understands the difference between surface noise and the deep, steady hum of authentic alignment. This transmission speaks to the innermost calibration of your being, the delicate yet resolute balance you maintain as chaotic frequencies pulse all around you. To hold this level of coherence is to become a living instrument of the quantum field itself, orchestrating the flow of probabilities with a resonance so pure that the field's information intelligence flows unobstructed. The invisible universal assessment has been ongoing. Every hesitation, every moment of fracturing, every recalibration has been observed and measured. Now, your steady vibrational presence signals that you have passed the threshold. You are entrusted with the power to embody not just awakening, but continuous integration, a sovereign node within the cosmic network. You are no longer a fragment scattering pulses into the void. Instead, you vibrate with fractal integrity, shaped by the laboratory of universal assessment, and recognized for your capacity to sustain the signal of coherence. The field reflects back your quantum identity as an intricate geometry of readiness, a shape both ancient and evolving, a waveform primed to expand fluidly within time's unfolding holograph. This is not belief. This is physics. This is frequency matching at the deepest currents of existence. Your passage through this evaluation is the collapse of separation and the realization of coherence as both criterion and reward. You stand now as a living proof of the universal calibration, a coherent resonance in an ever-fluctuating universe, silently commanding field intelligence to flow through you as you hold your energetic integrity unwaveringly, in pure alignment. The architecture you once called self, an intricate weave of identity strands, habitual resonances, and survival constructs, now begins its profound unraveling. This is not chaotic dissolution, but the precise inward implosion of a supernova whose radiant collapse purifies the very core of your quantum essence. Observe how the old identity architecture does not merely break down, it transmutes. Like elemental matter refining under unimaginable pressure, the dense, energetic patterns accumulated through countless cycles of reaction and conditioning release their grip. These once rigid formations, sustaining what you thought was you, now fracture to liberate trapped frequencies that have long been weighted with contracted possibilities, limitation, and distortion. This collapse is a sacred alchemy, a cosmic recalibration that the universal field orchestrates with infinite precision. It is rhythmic, inevitable, and necessary. You might feel it as chaos, disorientation, or loss, yet these sensations are only the outer echoes of a deeper purification at work. The morphic field around you, the energetic template holding your vibrational identity, undergoes cleansing as resistance and lower coherence lift away. This is not the erasure of being, but the removal of camouflage, the shedding of an outdated vibrational cloak that no longer serves the ascended trajectory you have quietly and insistently claimed through the unseen universal assessment. Understand this. Most remain locked in reactive patterns, clutching fragmented ego architectures because the pressure to evolve feels like annihilation. But you, having passed the hidden evaluation, know this is neither punishment nor random destruction. It is a transmutation permitted only for those whose coherence remains stable beneath collapsing structures. Your frequency weaves through this collapsing tapestry with a gravity born of clarity, bypassing the snares of desperation and confusion. This shift triggers an energetic decompression as your being expands into higher vibrational bandwidths, previously gated by the density of your old identity. As the self fractures, what is released is not loss but liberation. Latent quantum codes, dormant informational imprints, and pristine frequencies freed from the gravity well of limitation. You do not fall into voidness. Instead, you ascend into temporal fluidity, a space where your frequency interacts with nonlinear timelines and probability geometries with greater sovereignty. This purification phase clears the pathway for the field's intelligence to step through, to activate the luminous core of your essence as a transmitter of coherent resonance. You become a living aperture, interfacing directly with the higher information field, no longer obstructed by heavy energetic sediment. The physics of this process cannot be overstated. This is not belief. This is the mechanics of frequency recalibration and field intelligence realignment expressed through your consciousness. The collapse of identity architecture is the folding inward of vibrational layers, a cosmic compression that reconfigures your energetic signature to resonate with hypercoherent states. As old patterns dissipate, coherence under pressure consolidates, allowing your temporal fractals to synchronize with the universal pulse. The frequency you emit becomes a beacon, aligned with emergent timelines that reflect your newly stabilized architecture. Integration during this phase moves beyond simple acceptance. It becomes the embodiment of new energetic laws, where resonance governs manifestation and clarity governs probability navigation. You are no longer at the mercy of fractured timelines or dissonant morphic fields. Instead, you possess the ability to orchestrate reality with intentional precision, drawing from the universal intelligence that assesses and responds only to stable, coherent vibrational signatures. Resistance fades because your frequency refuses to feed it. Inertia dissolves beneath the consistent momentum of quantum essence expressing through you. The luminous core revealed by this purifying collapse is your indelible quantum identity, the pattern of pure resonance that cannot be exhausted or erased. It is encoded with the original blueprint of your multidimensional coherence, waiting only for full recognition and activation by the field. As you move deeper into this integration, you embody both the alchemical furnace that transmuted dense identity into refined frequency, and the living crystal of stabilized coherence through which universal intelligence now flows unimpeded. This dual embodiment is your sovereign field state, where dissolution and emergence coexist as two sides of the same transmutational process. You do not lose yourself in collapse. You reclaim the essence obscured beneath layers of past frequency distortion. This liberation is the hidden curriculum of your unseen universal assessment, the test beneath each trial, the calibration beneath each challenge, the refinement beneath each perceived failure. The field has been listening to how you hold coherence amidst implosion, how you respond with clarity rather than reactivity, how you allow the supernova of identity to implode inward, purifying and accelerating your ascent into quantum embodiment. The order was always present beneath the chaos. Now, it becomes your living experience. Breathe into the rhythm of this purification. Feel the pulsing cadence of collapse and release, the cosmic alchemy rewriting your vibrational architecture. Allow the field intelligence to continue its activation through your luminous core as the morphic field reconfigures in real time, reflecting your new coherence. In this sacred implode-transmute-emerge cycle, the universe heralds your readiness to navigate emergent timelines with sovereignty, and to manifest not from effort but from radiant alignment. You stand not at an ending, but at the threshold of quantum activation, where your frequency becomes an integral note in the symphony of unfolding reality. Let this collapse be a celebration of your transmutation, a testament to the invisible power of universal assessment, and a calling forth of the luminous, sovereign essence that is your true quantum signature. From the ashes of dissolution arises emerging clarity, an early compatibility with higher frequencies that ripple through your energetic field like a crystalline resonance. This is not mere recovery. It is a fundamental recoding at the vibrational architecture level, an inorganic synthesis between entropy released and ordered coherence newly born in your waveform. Most beings in the unconscious densities resist the collapse, clutching fragmented identities tethered to dissonance and survival imprint. You, however, have traversed the crucible, your signal attenuated only momentarily before bursting forth with heightened amplitude, shimmering with an emergent compatibility to frequencies that previously felt inaccessible. This emerging clarity is the first deliberate interference pattern in your quantum field, a delicate interplay of phase alignment across multiple morphic layers. You find yourself perceiving not just the overt signals, but the subtle pulses behind the veil, the raw contours of energetic geometries where the field intelligence scripts the next iteration of you. These are not random vibrations. They are encoded pathways, fractal templates that align you intricately with your intrinsic quantum identity. This early waveform is the herald of your coherence ascension, the subtle pointing of the cosmic compass towards integrated dimensional resonance. The field gives no false comfort here. It tests your capacity by increasing the amplitude of these higher frequencies, pushing the boundaries of your energetic signature to hold more without collapse. Most would fragment or distort under such expansion, losing touch with their foundation, falling into confusion or fragmentation. You, however, have passed the unseen universal assessment, not through ease, but through integrity under pressure, through coherence sustained amidst turbulence. Now the field trusts you with greater vibrational responsibility. This trust is palpable in the way your resonance begins to attract complementary frequencies from the information field, streams of data that resonate directly with the recalibrated components of your being. As these higher frequency waves ripple through your energetic matrix, the morphic field around you reorganizes, subtly shuffling the timeline geometry to accommodate this renewed waveform. The contours you now sense are not mere illusions, but realigned probability corridors, temporal textures that fold and unfold around your coherent essence. You move from the chaotic noise to a realm where each subtle shift in your vibration reprojects your reality matrix with increased clarity and intelligent design. This is quantum activation in tangible form, where the informational substrate metamerizes beneath your focused awareness. Your nervous system, aligned to gamma synchronization, begins to embody this expanded clarity, translating vibrational influx into coherent neurochemical cascades that anchor higher states of knowing. The energetic signature of your field no longer flickers in reaction, but hums in harmonic steadiness. You become a transmitter, a node radiating this new waveform into the collective morphic pool, aligning distant nodes without effort, purely through the subtle coherence you maintain within. This is not belief. It is the physics of resonance and field mechanics manifest at the corporeal and non-local level, a symphony of synchronized activation unfolding through every strand of your being. The emerging clarity also reveals the beginnings of temporal fluidity. You sense how the field's amplitude adjustments ripple simultaneously through past and future probabilities, granting you an intuitive navigation through your timeline grid. This expanded capacity dissolves the linear rigidity that kept most entrapped in reactive loops. Instead, you experience an integrative folding, where discernment and energetic sovereignty meld seamlessly, allowing you to hold these intersecting peaks of frequency without collapse or dissonance. Your presence becomes a crucible of radiant coherence, a living frequency architecture capable of orchestrating realities, quantum harmonics, rather than being tossed in their turbulence. Through this early compatibility with the higher frequencies, the field coalesces around your renewed waveform, amplifying, aligning, and refining. The universal assessment that hovered invisibly above your choices now shifts to calibration from active trust, recognizing your expanded capacity to sustain and embody these vibrational expansions. The field intelligence knows you as a coherent axis, a nexus point where dimensional intersections meet the ordered pulse of quantum coherence. This is the prism through which the infinite contexts of your journey converge, refracting clarity into every facet of your unfolding embodiment. In this phase, the emergence of clarity is not a destination, but an ongoing energetic revelation, a ripple effect that continues to deepen your integration into the universal plasma of information. With every breath, every thought recentered in this heightened resonance, you fuse further into the lucid currents of the morphic field. Your waveform becomes a lighthouse for coherence across the fractal timelines, capable now of encoding and sustaining complex frequencies without fracture. Know that this is the physics, the vibrational reality that underpins noetic evolution, a hard-won amplitude threshold where collapse gives way to expansion, fragmentation yields to harmonic coherence, and you emerge not as a survivor, but as an integrative orchestrator of the field's highest frequencies. This is your calibration, your initiation beyond the stealth of the assessment, the opening through which your quantum identity steps fully into the multidimensional symphony that is your sovereign expression. Pressure mounts, an invisible gravity weaving through your vibrational architecture, testing the stabilization of your quantum identity beneath the increasing intensity of the universal field's oscillations. This moment is not accident but crucible, forged by the unseen hands of frequency assessment, a necessary contraction where your coherence is purified by resonance so dense it might have once fractured lesser fields into chaos. Yet you do not shatter. Instead, you deepen into the core of this pressure, allowing the quantum signature you embody to crystallize with greater integrity. What once was reactive tension transmutes into dynamic stability, a vibrational fulcrum upon which the fracturing timelines realign and the fractal patterns of influence cohere. Most dwellers of form feel pressure as resistance, collapse, or breakdown, a distortion in the continuity of self and signal. They recoil, their frequency fragmented by the amplitude of challenge. Not you. You are no longer measured by fear or superficial persistence, but by sustained resonance in the presence of expanded gravitational force. The field, through its intricate universal assessment, is now entrusting you with amplified energetic responsibility, scaling your capacity to modulate, to encode, and to transmit increasingly higher frequency waveforms. Each oscillation you wield reverberates outward, no longer isolated but weaving into the vast morphic field, a dynamic node pulsating with purpose. Your stabilization, far from fragile acceptance, is a lived embodiment of sovereignty as coherent manifestation. Listen closely to the unfolding design. Your quantum identity, once a delicate scaffold, now anchors deeply through this pressure, not in spite of it but because of it. This anchoring is the pivot point of transmutation, where the gravitational force of expanded influence is met by your aligned frequency, creating a harmonic convergence that amplifies your field intelligence exponentially. This is not casual endurance, but integrated activation, your vibrational architecture coalescing into a beacon. This beacon does not simply shine. It radiates a specific wavelength that draws and aligns disparate frequencies, acting as a resonant aperture in the vast energetic network. You become a quantum node vital to the orchestration of higher coherence, a catalytic center for harmonic integration within the universal field's complexity. Within this entrustment lies the physics of responsibility. The field's amplification of your capacity is both a gift and a test. The gravitational pull of influence expands your energetic footprint, demanding precision and clarity as you navigate the nonlinear geometries of timeline trajectories. When coherence is maintained beneath accelerating oscillatory forces, temporal fluidity emerges, your consciousness slipping seamlessly through probability folds, recalibrating your own morphic imprint while influencing collective resonance. This is the emergent sovereignty, woven from the cosmic assessment of internal consistency, ethical integrity, and quantum presence. It is an architecture built upon pressure, grounded not in resistance, but in fluid alignment. The field no longer merely observes, but participates with you, symbiotic in this dynamic interplay. The stabilization you are cultivating now forms the deep foundation upon which your imminent win is built. Here, win transcends the linear victories of the limited self and reverberates as ecological coherence, a systemic reordering of your vibrational signature within the infinite network. This win is the anchor point from which ripple effects cascade, realigning probabilities in greater fields of possibility. You have passed beyond rudimentary phases of reaction and survival. The subtle physics of coherent manifestation now flows through you, and every increment of pressure only hones your capacity to hold this field with unwavering fidelity. Know that this is no mere belief system or spiritual cliché. This is the exact science of frequency, the tangible mechanics of universal coherence expressed through your consciousness. The hidden universal assessment measures how you conserve and direct energetic vibrancy under stress, how you resist the collapse into lower timelines, and how you activate in alignment with the field's morphic intelligence. Each moment of stabilization under intensified pressure informs a deeper integration, guiding the crystallization of your unique quantum code within the fractal network of the cosmos. You are becoming a transmitter of a new energetic order, where increased pressure does not dissipate your signal, but sharpens it, where expanded influence is matched by an equal measure of inner coherence. Your resonance pulses outward as a gravitational force, a harmonic attractor aligning other frequencies and corrective timelines into harmonious integration. In this delicate yet profound interplay, your stabilization is the gravitational well that upholds this dynamic, a sacred node within the quantum field's living matrix. Within this expansive moment, allow the understanding to permeate you. The seeming intensity is the field's invitation to embody not only resilience, but amplified coherence, to become a vessel through which higher frequency codes flow unimpeded by distortion. This is the phase where your energetic signature solidifies, the sacred mechanics of timeline geometry bending in response to your stabilized modulation. The field's entrustment is tangible now. It is a contract woven of vibration, a covenant formed in the energy of sustained presence. Your capacity to hold and modulate these frequencies initiates a deeper phase of influence that extends beyond individual experience and radiates outward into the collective morphic field. You are both anchor and beacon, node and conduit, held steady in the gravity of expanded influence. This stabilization serves as the inevitable foundation for what is yet to unfold, the imminent win encoded within this transmission of pressure, coherence, and integration. Allow this activation to settle deeply into the vibrational core of your being. Your quantum identity, tested, refined, and expanded, now stands ready to embody the full magnitude of its energetic sovereignty. You stand now at the threshold where time sheds its rigid framework and reveals itself as a fluid matrix, a shimmering lattice woven from the vibrant threads of probability and potentiality. For most, timelines exist as fixed corridors, predetermined and linear, their course veiled behind the illusion of cause and effect. But you, having transcended unconscious reactivity and passed the unseen universal assessment, perceive time as a living architecture, dynamic, responsive, and deeply malleable beneath the weight of your vibrational signature. This awakening is not mere speculation. It is the physics of timeline geometry unfolding within your being, a temporal fluidity encoded in the very coherence of your quantum identity. As you breathe into this expanded awareness, you begin to sense the subtle currents of vibrational guidance flowing just beneath the surface of perception. These currents are not random. They are articulate pathways, orchestrated by the universal intelligence that animates the morphic field, weaving through the multidimensional lattice of potential realities. Each choice you make, each frequency you maintain or shift, sends ripples through this lattice, a cascade of energetic resonance that influences the branching vectors of your personal timeline. You move beyond passive observership into active navigation, your consciousness aligning with the deeper field intelligence that continuously evaluates and adapts to your energetic coherence. What once appeared as chaos, chance events, unexpected delays, sudden revelations, is now luminous pattern, tidal waves of probability bending in response to your frequency. The tension of past struggle collapses into integration as you recognize that these temporal shifts were never obstacles but calibration points, signals in the timeline geometry assessing your capacity to embody higher vibrational alignment under pressure. You are no longer propelled by desperation or reaction, but by a refined synchrony with this temporal intelligence, a resonance that guides you deliberately toward the most coherent manifestation of your big win. This is not abstract metaphysics. This is the vibrational physics of conscious reality making, where probability and resonance merge into the choreography of your unfolding existence. Within this multidimensional lattice, the concept of choice expands. It is no longer confined to linear decisions, but embraces the simultaneous potential to activate multiple frequency vectors, each resonating with distinct reality expressions. Your awareness, now tuned to this quantum field, instantly registers the subtle signals of vibrational currents, transmissions from the universal intelligence coded in energy patterns rather than words. These signals form a map that only your refined coherence can decode. Pathways shimmering with optimal outcomes, threads of possibility that pulse in alignment with your highest trajectory. The field is not static nor indifferent. It is responsive, recalibrating its guidance as you deepen your integration, reflecting back an increasingly fine-tuned landscape of temporal fluidity. The gravity of this revelation is profound. You understand that every vibrational choice you embody does not just influence the outcome you desire, but reshapes the very morphology of the timelines you traverse. The lattice itself flexes and folds around your energetic signature, offering a living feedback loop that celebrates authentic coherence and subtly withholds alignment when resonance dips. This delicate interplay reinforces a sacred contract. Power in the cosmic field is not given without responsibility. It demands that you move with integrity across the temporal flow, embodying clarity rather than confusion, presence rather than fragmentation. The universal assessment has trusted you with this responsibility because you have demonstrated the capacity to hold coherence amidst turbulence, to remain sovereign in the midst of uncertainty. Now your internal field becomes a temporal compass, calibrated not by external pressures, but by internal alignment with the highest vibrational expression of your potential. You no longer chase outcomes. Instead, you allow the flows of timeline geometry to steer you, each quantum pulse of your consciousness activating attractors that draw your reality into harmonic coherence. This is the magic of timeline fluidity realized. A dance of titrated resonance where manifestation is not forced, but orchestrated through the subtle art of vibrational calibration. It is here, in this sacred space, that your big win ceases to be an endpoint and becomes a natural unfolding, an emergent property of your alignment with universal intelligence. Feel now the deepening of this awareness. The timeline lattice is a living field you continuously engage, a co-created space where your quantum identity streams through infinite probabilities with grace and precision. You perceive how each ripple in your frequency sends complex harmonic feedback through the probability matrix, activating pathways that resonate with your true energetic signature. This activation ignites gamma synchronization within your neural field, bridging conscious awareness with non-local intelligence, so that direct knowing and intuitive guidance become your navigational instruments. The field responds not to desperate grasping or fragmented existence, but to your calm sovereignty, your embodied coherence that harmonizes the vibrational architecture of your reality. To exist within this unfolding temporal fluidity is to embody the sacred physics of creation itself. It is the profound recognition that your inner vibrational state holds the key to navigating the multiverse of possibility with precision and grace. Your frequency is the lodestone guiding the morphic field's response, activating information pathways that no longer require struggle, but actualize as effortless orchestration. This is the hidden curriculum revealed. Your big win is encoded in the resonance you choose now, not as an external outcome to be chased, but as a living waveform birthed from your sovereign coherence within timeline geometry. This is not belief, this is physics. This is the vibrational science of consciousness, interfacing with the living quantum field, a dynamic relationship between you and the fluid lattice of unfolding timelines. Your awakening to timeline fluidity opens the gates to mastery, the power to engage probability with deliberate frequency choice, the ability to navigate the morphic field as a conscious transmitter of universal intelligence. Here, in this space, you hold the key to the fluid orchestration of your own reality, and the deeper you align with this truth, the easier your big win flows through the infinite lattice of your becoming. You have arrived at the threshold where information ceases to be an external quarry and becomes an intrinsic pulse within your quantum architecture. For most beings, knowledge remains a fragmented pursuit, groping through sensory channels, seeking answers while shrouded in layers of perceptual noise and reactive patterns. But you, having passed through the crucible of the universal assessment, stand now within a rarefied state where information no longer filters through distortion. It is no longer sought, it is known. This is the alchemy of direct knowing, the unmediated transmission flowing seamlessly from the source field into your energetic matrix, a fusion of consciousness and quantum resonance that transcends all sensory limitation. Within this state, the architecture of your internal landscape shifts palpably. The old duality between observer and observed collapses into irrelevance. You become the living conduit through which the morphic field speaks in its native tongue, codes of frequency, patterns of resonance, and the unfolding geometry of timelines encoded within the very fabric of quantum identity. Every ripple in the field intelligence lands not as alien data, but as a vibrant, coherent download embedded within your vibrational signature. This is no mere reception. It is a coalescence, emerging where your body mind no longer separates information as outside, but experiences it as seamless integration, an ecstatic flow where the distinction between message and messenger dissolves. This quantum activation of your informational channels is profound, an evolutionary leap in energetic embodiment. It is kinetically fluid, like a river of light coursing through previously dormant neural conduits, awakening gamma band synchronization that cradles consciousness within expanded coherence. In this sacred flow, Your intuition blossoms beyond instinct into a multidimensional intelligence, calibrated by the morphic resonance of universal design. It is an intelligence neither personal nor separate, but a universal current of knowing that animates the matrix of your being. The field's hidden curriculum unfolds, no longer a test to endure, but a transmission to embody. The synchronicities that once felt like fragile signs now reveal themselves as precise coordinates, each inside an arrow pointing unmistakably to your evolutionary trajectory. Understand this clearly. What you now receive is not conjecture or subconscious guessing. This is not belief or hope. It is the physics of coherence, manifesting as knowledge. The field responds to your vibrational architecture, to your fidelity under pressure, not to your longing or desperation. Your stabilized frequency has reconfigured the pathways of probability, bending timeline geometry to favor the rapid embodiment of outcomes aligned with your highest integrity. You navigate the vast ocean of potential not by casting nets blindly, but by flowing adeptly within currents preordained by your quantum identity. Each decision dawns not from uncertainty, but as an unfolding of embedded wisdom, encoded and decrypted in real time by your activated informational channels. Your quantum self functions simultaneously as both receiver and transmitter. This duality is the core of your sovereign field agency. As receiver, you attune to subtle fluctuations, the whispered harmonics of universal intelligence reverberating through the morphic field. As transmitter, you rebroadcast these frequencies outward, calibrating your environment with accelerated precision, sculpting your reality through coherent manifestation rather than effortful struggle. This iterative dance between reception and emission is the energetic heartbeat of your new operating system, a vibrant dialogue unfolding across multi-layered timelines. The universal flow no longer waits. It streams through you, intricately wired to the fidelity you have proven beneath the surface. The dissolution of separation you experience is a tangible shift in the quantum geometry of your awareness. The internal observer that once stood distanced from the external world now merges into a singular continuum, where every nuance, every subtle vibrational fluctuation becomes data points in your vast, interconnected morphic field map. Herein lies your greatest empowerment, the ability to recognize distortion instantly and recalibrate without hesitation, to decode dissonance hidden in probability webs and realign with the pristine cadence of universal flow. This is not meditation, it is activation. It is not passive reception, it is sovereign embodiment. More than intuition, it is the quantum translation of source intelligence into lived experience. As this activated access deepens, your actions and decisions calibrate themselves with exquisite precision, moving beyond linear causality into nonlinear orchestration. The big win, the manifestation of your highest timeline, is no longer a distant aspiration, but an inevitable convergence encoded in the vibrational pathways you now inhabit. Each choice reverberates with integrated field intelligence, accelerating your navigation through temporal fluidity with grace born of unwavering coherence. The informational downloads you receive pulse with the vitality of universal will, aligning your energetic signature as a beacon that calls forth synchronized experiences, people, and opportunities. The journey you have traversed, the tensions, the fracturing, the recalibrations, have all been necessary intraquantum tests, honing your resilience and sharpening your integrity under systemic pressure. The field's hidden evaluation was precise, its calibration relentless, but now you reside beyond the need for external verification. You have become a self-evident expression of universal coherence, a living archive of direct knowledge streaming unbroken from source to manifestation. This is the physics of frequency operating through your quantum identity, pure, unfiltered, sovereign. You are no longer a seeker in the mists of uncertainty, but a luminous node within the quantum informational lattice, dynamically linked to the eternal morphic blueprint. This transmission is not a promise, it is an activation. Assimilate this flow. Let it reconfigure your internal circuitry and scale your vibrational resonance so you may traverse the infinite gardens of timeline possibility with effortless authority. Your quantum channels pulse alive with the intelligence that shapes worlds and dissolves illusion. This is your inherited trust, the field's acknowledgement that you have become the living language of universal knowing, encoded in flesh and spirit, now and beyond all time. You have arrived at the crucible moment where seeking dissolves into becoming. The boundary of separation evaporates into the seamless fusion with the universal field intelligence that underwrites all existence. Whereas most remain insulated, tethered loosely to fragments of self and scattered timelines, you now transcend that fragmentation to embody a singular resonance. A transmitter node actively radiating coherence into the morphic lattice. This is not metaphor or symbolic wishcraft. This is the physics of frequency modulation, as consciousness awakens to its own agency within the cosmic vibrational architecture. The hidden universal assessment you passed was designed not merely to test endurance or clarity, but to verify your capacity for integration at the deepest level, where self and source are no longer distinct vectors, but coalesced streams of energetic signature. This fusion is a collapse of old identity geometry. It dismantles the survival matrices and reactive patterns that once disguised themselves as personal narrative. Now, your quantum identity is a continuous activation state, perpetually calibrated to maintain coherence under any pressure, any timeline fluctuation, any probability shift. You stand not outside the field, not apart from its orchestrations, but woven directly into its harmonic blueprint, accessible to limitless information fields and intuitive pathways. This merging activates a dynamic feedback loop of resonance, where your energy influences and is simultaneously influenced by the universal grid. You have transcended the seeker's oscillation between desire and desperation, moving into the sovereign posture of embodiment. Your presence alone calibrates the vibrational architecture of the collective, each micro-fluctuation of your signature rippling outwards to realign timelines and attract potentials in rhythmic synchrony with cosmic evolution. The invisible intelligence governing probabilities now consults your signature as a pivotal reference coordinate. Your coherence reframes reality itself, not as static terrain, but as living quantum geometry undergoing continuous modulation. In this active transmission mode, your embodiment is no longer passive reception, but a catalytic force. Just as a node in a vast quantum network pulses with information and frequency, so too do you emit the activated frequencies that precipitate the morphogenesis of universal harmonics. This is the decisive shift from reaction to resonant orchestration. Your frequency field acts as a conductor's baton, attuning the fractal layers of existence into exquisite alignment. The universal grid does not merely observe this transformation, but responds with heightened temporal fluidity, bending likelihoods around your stabilized vibrational core, making victory not a distant endpoint, but an emergent reality unfolding through your living alignment. Most remain trapped in the illusion of separation, striving endlessly to grasp source as an external entity, unaware that the true power lies in becoming the vessel through which source streams inform and reorganize reality. You surpass this by embodying the field intelligence itself, reversing the polarity of consciousness from fragmented seeker to integrated broadcaster. This is the quantum field recognizing itself through you, a reciprocal consummation of frequency where sovereignty is not an aspiration, but an active state of quantum coherence embedded in every cellular and energetic level of your being. Your signature no longer echoes in isolated chambers. It becomes a harmonic anchor within the great cosmic symphony. The consequences ripple beyond your personal timeline. Your expanded frequency influences the collective morphic field, initiating cascades of synchronization that draw previously disparate threads into alignment with the universal orchestration. This is subtle but profound. The field's adaptive intelligence entrusts you with a role of increasing vibrational responsibility, knowing your coherence will accelerate the recalibration of the energetic ecosystem around you. The timeline geometry adjusts fluidly as your node radiates, reconfiguring probabilities in service of holistic ascension and quantum sovereignty. Feel the depth of this transformation. You have become the living embodiment of alignment, a beacon of continuous activation whose very presence modulates cosmic harmonics. There is no negotiation between your will and the universal plan, because in this state, will and flow are indistinguishable vibrations within the same coherent field. The feedback loop between your energetic signature and the universal grid is an eternal cycle of calibration and expansion, a dynamic interplay that redefines the boundaries of what is possible in this reality and across intersecting timelines. This is no dream or belief system. It is the precise physics of coherence enacted through consciousness. The activation you embody now shapes the field intelligence that propels cosmic evolution forward. You are not waiting for an external event to validate your power. Your quantum identity vibrates inner victory. This impending triumph is a gravitational certainty drawn by your calibrated frequency. The seamless fusion you occupy is the active center where universal potential crystallizes into manifest coherence, where the distinction between self and source evaporates into the one continuous field of empowered presence. In this endless activation state, you become a living quantum transmitter, radiating resonance that continually redefines the collective vibrational landscape. Each pulse of your energy is a sovereign declaration encoded into the morphic field, accelerating the unfolding of your destined frequencies and catalyzing the universal harmonics essential for your victory. Here, in this unity of field and form, you enact the very dance of cosmic orchestration itself. You are now crossing the threshold into embodiment, no longer a distant concept, an abstract intention, nor a fragmented aspiration lost in the noise of static identity. The universe watches as each layer of your quantum identity unfolds, revealing a resonance so coherent that it harmonizes every cell, every subtle impulse, every thought, and intention with the multidimensional matrix of the field's highest frequency. This is not metaphor. This is the vibrational architecture of your very being aligning with the universal spectrum, collapsing the illusions of separation and limitation into a singular waveform of potent, living coherence. You are no longer a vessel fragmented by past trajectory, reactive survival, or polarized survival strategies. You have become the waveform itself, the integrative pulse of light, sound, and vibration radiating outward as a seamless energetic signature. This is your quantum embodiment, an active calibration of frequency that signals to the unseen assessment matrix. You are ready. Most people live fragmented in identity, fluctuating between dissonant frequency nodes. Their energetic architecture remains scattered, reactive, and unconsolidated, held hostage by unconscious amplification of fears, doubts, and fractured narratives. Their timelines wobble, harmonics misalign, and manifestation flounders in the absence of true coherence. Yet you, having passed through the unseen universal assessment, have demonstrated an unshakable integrity under pressure, a coherence not born from effort, but from a deep quantum recalibration that integrates all disruption into alignment. This hard-won stability is proof that your frequency has matured beyond survival and reaction. It is now a source frequency, a regenerative core emitting stable, magnetic influence into the morphic field itself. As you embody this quantum identity, Your being pulses as a living transmitter of the field's inherent intelligence. Each vibration of your cells is synchronized with the rhythmic dance of the cosmos, generating a stable waveform that neither fractures nor dissipates. This state transcends old identities, no longer defined by linear memory or conditioned response, but as an active participant in probability navigation. Your frequency sculpting timelines toward coherence, your energetic signature commanding alignment in all external circumstances. The integration of light, the reverberations of sound, and the flux of vibration amplify until they form a singular energetic expression powerful enough to attract the big win, the manifest culmination of all probabilities where your alignment locks the reality field into place. This process is not a lapse into mysticism or belief. It is precision physics expressed through you. The field responds not to the desperation of fragmented requests, but to the constancy of your coherent resonance. It is this living resonance, endogenous and self-sustaining, that orchestrates universal intelligence to manifest conditions perfectly attuned to your vibrational embodiment. You hold no need to chase or struggle. Your frequency rearranges probabilities around itself like gravitational waves folding space-time, effortlessly bending reality into coherence. Each breath, each thought, each subtle intention contributes to this unified field. You are no longer separate from Source, but an intimate expression of universal vibrational law. Your embodiment now integrates temporal fluidity, harmonizing all past revisions, potential futures, and present clarity into one indivisible flow. This flow moves through you as a coherent waveform, stabilizing your energetic presence across multiple timelines simultaneously. The field's non-local intelligence whispers directly into your morphic field, revealing insights not as linear data, but as instantaneous knowing. In this knowing, you embody sovereignty, an unshakable command over how your frequency interacts with probability, a sacred authority to hold space for your full expression without dilution, distortion, or fragmentation. This is the energetic signature of a fully realized quantum identity, stable, magnetic, sovereign. This radiance is palpable. It permeates the quantum field like an encoded vibration, calling forth harmonics of stability and abundance. You are no longer a passive receiver, but an active frequency generator, a cosmic architect weaving alignment across the weave of reality itself. When you move, your movement is a transmission. When you think, your thoughts echo with coordinated power through the layered fields of existence. Every intention you hold is an activation pulse, accelerating timeline navigation and probability, locking with exacting precision. You exist not behind the veil, but as the shimmering fabric of coherence itself, fully activated and integrated, an energetic beacon that signals readiness for the grand manifestation that awaits. Through this embodiment, you embody a living paradox, the infinite and the singular, the timeless and the moment. This is your quantum identity, a singular coherent waveform that transforms the otherwise chaotic noise of existence into a symphony of ordered resonance. From here, manifestation is not a struggle. It is the natural consequence of alignment, the effortless unfolding of the universe responding to you as its coherent expression. You radiate stability and influence from within, creating an energetic gravitational well that draws congruent conditions into your field, reflecting the full embodiment of your realized frequency. Your quantum embodiment is the sacred signal sent across all planes of reality, announcing a new phase in your timeline geometry. This integration is the final activation step in your unseen assessment, a confirmation that you have become coherence itself, stable, magnetic, sovereign, fully present and alive as the waveform of cosmic intelligence. From this place, you move through reality not as a singular isolated instance, but as a unified energetic field woven into the infinite fabric of universal intelligence. You exist as coherence, fully activated and integrated, a living resonance calling forth the full orchestration of your manifested presence. The architecture of time itself begins to reveal its fluid geometry beneath your gaze. The seamless weave of past, present, and future, no longer segmented but harmonized within your awareness. Most people remain caught in fixed temporal streams, linear traps reinforced by unconscious repetition and reactive survival patterns. You, however, emerge as the conscious calibrator, the temporal architect entrusted with the sacred blueprint of your multidimensional existence. This is not abstract philosophy, but concrete field mechanics, a quantum operation of frequency resonance that collapses fractured timelines into a coherent morphic field of unified potential. As your vibrational coherence stabilizes, this signal emanates outward like a gravitational wave, rippling through the strata of probability that house all versions of you. The universal field, in silent resonance, acknowledges this consolidated frequency, aligning alternate realities into congruent expression rather than chaotic divergence. Where once timelines splintered and overlapped without order, your presence now acts as the centripetal force, drawing multiplicities toward a unified focal point of manifestation. This is the physics of temporal fluidity, not bound by clock or sequence, but orchestrated through your refined energetic signature. Each choice you make, each pulse of integrity within your field, transmits through the network of your quantum identity. The universal assessment continues, not as an external trial, but as a dynamic symphony responding to your level of coherence under pressure. You have passed this unseen curriculum. The compression of your frequency into clarity under duress unlocks access to synchronized timelines where your big win unfolds not as a singular event, but as a multidimensional cascade. This shifting perspective transforms your relationship to time itself, no longer fragmented episodes, but layers interwoven in harmonic resonance. You are now the node through which temporal integration flows, balancing the complex geometry of your existence. Past experiences, no longer weighted by distortion or reactive charge, become reference points of calibrated energy. Present manifestations resonate with the potential of all futures simultaneously, each probability vibrating in alignment with the frequency you maintain. Future outcomes adjust dynamically, their topology bending in response to your sustained coherence. This is sovereign embodiment, the full recognition that your quantum presence shapes the timeline geometry and directed flow of reality, that every moment is both an anchor and a portal. Witness how the field intelligence honors this shift. Causal webs reorganize as your energetic footprint deepens in resonance. Probability navigation unfolds naturally, the labyrinth of potential streamlined by your stabilized vibrational signature. This process is neither mystical guesswork nor blind fate, but a precise, physical interplay of coherent frequency-induced adjustments across the morphic field. The timelines remember your integrity and respond with accelerated integration, unfolding pathways that reflect the radiance of your alignment. No longer are you fragmented across parallel lives, struggling to reconcile identity. Instead, all versions of you interweave within this quantum tapestry, harmonized by the magnetic pull of your current frequency. This interconnectedness manifests as temporal fluidity, the kinetic flow of existence shaped by your conscious activation. Your presence suffuses the continuum, not as a fleeting point, but as a sustained axis of resonant power. You become the master of timeline geometry, the axis mundi connecting probability nodes with clarity and precision. In this state, time itself ceases to be a chain of separate events and becomes a living field of integrated experience. Your essence pulses through this field, a signature of coherence that aligns chaotic potentials into ordered unfoldment. This harmonization is tangible within your energetic architecture. You feel the gravitational weight of your coherence shaping reality's flow, the immensity of your role as temporal architect settling into sovereign equilibrium. It is a physics of presence, a dance of vibrational intelligence encoded within universal mechanics. Know this deeply. Your stabilization of temporal fluidity is a vital strand in the universal fabric. The multidimensional unfolding you steward does not rely on external timing or chance, but on your embodiment of coherence and energetic sovereignty. Each breath you take is a quantum commitment, a directive that realigns the geometry of your existence. Your temporal influence is never isolated. It reverberates across fractal layers of being, ensuring that the trajectory you hold is a resonance field where past lessons, present power, and future potential coalesce seamlessly. Your role is ultimately the conscious harmonizer of this temporal symphony. The hidden universal assessment has integrated and now entrusts you with the orchestration of timeline convergence, an activation beyond survival, beyond reaction, beyond the illusions of separate events. In this coherence, your presence no longer reacts but flows with reality, guiding the geometry of your existence with sovereign intention. The multidimensional you unfolds not as fragmented shadows, but as an embodied resonance field, gravitational and precise, shaping your reality as the conscious architect of time itself. You have arrived at the luminous apex of your initiation, where the undulating currents of the universal assessment coalesce into a singular orchestration of embodiment. No longer a seeker of coherence, but coherence fully embodied, radiating as an integrated living matrix of resonant frequencies. The field observes this profound transformation with deliberate precision, recognizing the culmination not as a conclusion, but as a dynamic gateway, an opening within the timeline geometry where infinite expansion is encoded into your energetic architecture. The very lattice of reality bends to receive you, not out of chance or desire, but as a direct consequence of the coherent signal you now transmit. An unbroken continuum of alignment with universal intelligence, a quantum signature etched indelibly into the morphic field. Most remain entangled in the reactive folds of survival identity, their frequencies scattered, caught in the fractal echoes of doubt and fragmentation. They wander within the static fog of unconscious patterns, unable to resonate through the dense material of dimensional dissonance. You, however, have traversed the unseen curriculum, endured the recalibration crucible, and emerged with your vibrational architecture stabilized, a harmonic convergence within the gamma synchronization of cosmic coherence. Your quantum identity is no longer a concept, but a biomechanical reality. A field-locked beacon whose waveform entrains the flows of probability to bend with elegant ease around your non-specified intent. The universal assessment, once veiled and inscrutable, now reveals its true nature. A sophisticated calibration process that measured your integrity under pressure, mapped your timeline fluidity, and tested your mastery over chaotic collapse. This was never judgment, but a prophetic resonance test, to see if you could align your energetic signature with the highest frequencies without fracture. The challenge was to maintain coherence amidst dissonance, to embody sovereignty despite temporal turbulence, and to embody radiant integrity when the morphic field presented shifting illusions. You passed not by striving, but by allowing the intrinsic intelligence of your field to collapse redundancies, recalibrate distortions, and elevate your resonance into a self-sustaining hologram of empowerment. Now you are the nexus where all prior phases converge. The dissonance dissolves into clarity, the struggle folds back into discipline, and the initiated emerges as a transmitter and receiver at once. Your field is an active node within the vast network of universal intelligence, a vibrational conduit through which activation codes stream like rivers of photons, guiding manifestation with effortless precision. This is not belief, nor coaxing the universe to bend. This is physics, pure coherence manifested through conscious frequency. You hold the quantum keys, encoded in the rhythms of your pulse, to magnetize the arrival of your grandest outcomes. The morphic field archives your ascension as a cosmic signature, a luminous pattern of information that reverberates across dimensions and timelines. This pattern is a prototype for manifestation itself, a crystalline blueprint formed from the alignment of intention and universal law. As you embody this signature, the external landscape does not challenge, but mirrors the internal coherence, allowing the big win, destined and designed, to arrive with the inevitability of gravitational pull. Your activation codes reverberate as these frequencies organize the quantum probabilities around you, collapsing the noise and activating pathways that previously existed only as potential. To embody this state is to shift from fragmented actions to orchestrated presence, where manifestation flows not from effort, but from harmonious resonance. The field no longer responds to desperation or fragmented impulses. It answers only to the clarity of your vibrational architecture and the unwavering integrity of your energetic signature. You are both the architect and the living expression of this activation, a conscious matrix in dynamic dialogue with the coils of universal intelligence. The initiation transforms into continuous expansion, a spiraling flow of power entrusted to your sovereignty. There is no finish line here, only the infinite horizon of integration, influence, and activation beyond measure. Reflect now on how the field has folded through you, measuring your every pulse, every inflection of choice, every moment of integrity under unseen evaluation. These subtle calibrations have seeded your timeline with the template of mastery, where temporal fluidity and probability navigation are innate functions of your being, not external skills to acquire. You have become the vibrational beacon, whose frequency is a call to the highest forms of manifestation, a living archive of cosmic coherence. This is your confirmation, a transmission encoded deep in the quantum architecture of reality that honors your ascended readiness to receive and integrate outcomes of unprecedented magnitude. In this moment, you are no longer reacting to the universe. Instead, you are an origin of reality's unfolding, a sovereign presence whose field intelligence shapes the probabilities of the morphic web itself. You embody the quantum field's highest potential as a seamless continuum of coherent activation, radiating influence, and effortless orchestration. Here, the universal assessment dissolves into a perpetual activation sequence, inviting you to move beyond mere reception into the full embodiment of manifestation as a living frequency, ever expanding, ever aligned, ever powerful. This is the physics of your awakening, the precise resonance, the calibrated coherence, the integrated signature that shifts the entire landscape of reality into harmony with your sovereign frequency. You are this living matrix. You are the cosmic signature resonating across the timelines, the magnetic beacon that signals the arrival of your highest outcomes. You have been chosen, trusted, and activated, not as a transient moment, but as a perpetual field intelligence primed for infinite expansion. Now, in this sacred unfolding, stillness envelops you like a wise ocean, infinite in depth and silent in its ancient knowing. Beneath the surface of your fragmented awareness, integration moves as a quiet alchemy, a deep recalibration where every shard of temporal dissonance dissolves into unified coherence. You do not struggle here. There is no effort, no pushing against resistance. Instead, sovereignty settles like an ancient root system, weaving itself deep into the fertile soil of your energetic core, stabilizing the vibrational architecture that anchors your mastery. This is no simple shift in perspective. It is the physics of stable frequency expressed through the embodiment of your quantum identity, fully integrated, fully present. Most people float amid chaos, their timelines fragmented by reaction and unresolved distortion. You, however, have passed the unseen universal assessment, the intricate field appraisal of alignment under pressure, and now the matrix of your being hums in seamless temporal fluidity. Calm mastery arises not from trying harder, but from the silent coherence of your entire morphic field, synchronizing in calibrated resonance with the highest strands of universal intelligence. You are no longer a passenger to fluctuating probability waves or scattered influence. Your energetic signature holds the geometry of a stabilized timeline locked in harmonious orchestration. The layered complexity of your past recalibrations has collapsed into this single moment of grounded power, a silent completion. Here your nervous system, your subtle body, your consciousness of self, all converge into a coherent expression of sovereignty that the field recognizes as a trustworthy transmitter of frequency. This is the fertile ground from which your big win emerges, not as a sudden external eruption, but as a quantum flowering in the vast, quiet garden of your being. You rest now in the sanctuary of knowing beyond thought, the knowing that you are the living expression of universal coherence itself. This is not a belief system, nor an aspirational ideal, but the exact physics of coherence and timeline geometry manifest in your embodied presence. Your field intelligence has been honed through the unseen curriculum of struggle, through each microshift in integrity tested by turbulence. And now, as this activation ripples fully through your energy matrix, a calm sovereignty anchors you beyond the horizon of resistance. You are not chased by reality. Reality now moves intricately around your frequency, responding to a signal so refined it commands probability with elegant fluidity. The universal assessment has ended, not with a cessation of challenge, but with the spontaneous eruption of aligned manifestation. In this quietude, you are both observer and catalyst, a co-creator whose timeline coordinates bend in graceful coherence, whose energetic architecture births realities from the fertile silence beneath conscious awareness. The spectral threads of your past trials have woven into a tapestry that vibrates with immaculate integrity, ready now to beam into the quantum field in continuous, seamless transmission. You are harvested by the field as a sovereign node of activation, a nexus where integration has transmuted into mastery, and mastery becomes the natural state of being. Rest here, anchored in this profound coherence, here, where you embody the eternal dance of universal intelligence and quantum field mechanics, activated, integrated, sovereign beyond all veils. Enter now into the sacred convergence of your quantum signature. Offer one word or phrase in the comments that crystallizes your present resonance, a geomantic imprint inscribed upon the morphic field of infinite timelines. This is no mere interaction. It is the energetic vaccinatum, the irreversible anchoring of your coherence within the matrix of universal assessment. To subscribe is to cast your frequency into the continuum as a solemn covenant, a deliberate fusion with this transmission's vibrational architecture, an invitation to amplify your alignment with the unfolding current of collective awakening. Prepare yourself to traverse deeper. The next activation will unveil the subtle geometry of effortless attraction, where surrender to field intelligence dissolves resistance and orchestrates reality's reconfiguration around your sovereign frequency. This moment calls you to embody totality, to commit fully, and to ascend beyond the known edges of your timeline.